For people that are changing genetics, they might go get a bunch of seeds and try them out, and then if they work, they'll go and get some other plants and clone them. Like because it costs so much per seed that anybody growing over 50 plants to pay 10 cents or $10 or $5 a seed even, it just doesn't make sense. Most people I know are even trying to come up with their own mothers because it becomes a real pain trying to get clones off other people for a variety of reasons. In particular, the timing. I've known of a few people that have cropped off and then are sitting and waiting for their friends to come up with some clones, and there's this dead time that just ultimately it's like makes more sense to cut down or stop using one of their lights and just use them for a mother plant. But yeah, cloning is the real thing for sure. I don't think this nutrient chart's in here. I think I got a different one, but there's all sorts of good little charts and stuff. All these little diagrams are, I really hope, up on the Hempology 101 webpage. We've got a picture gallery, and our lecture series has got posted these things. So, there's all sorts of different things. Each one of these here is obviously a different mineral or chemical. So like we got nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus, NPK. Look at most fertilizers for pot, and they'll mention 3 different things that they're supplying. And this is where organic fertilizers are often better because they provide the full spectrum of potential nutrients that a plant could want instead of just being specific on the ones that are going to produce THC. And as far as I'm concerned, a healthier plant is a better plant, and there's a lot more than producing THC that's important. The resins and cannabinoids and other sort of basic components of the plant are made up from all these different trace minerals. I think the next one here, just kind of gives you a sense of the most important ones. Aside from those 3, there's calcium, sulfur, magnesium, iron. Can't even say some of these ones, boron, zinc, and these are all both important on one hand, and on the other hand, I think we don't know enough about what happens if there's too many of any one of these different chemicals in that. We haven't had the opportunity in the laboratory to really do the science in this area that I guess the industry would like. So part of my work is actually going to be to try and determine, as I was saying sort of before, about what kind of industry standards are acceptable, because there's a huge debate in the industry and in grocery stores about which fertilizers are organic, or what do you mean by organic, and where is the line drawn. And so considering the full spectrum of chemicals and the ratios of them is going to be important in that process. Yeah.
I think it's important to note there that the ratio there was 3 gallons of water per 1 gallon of soil for a flushing procedure.
Mm-hmm.
That's
flushing is critical.
At least 3 times the amount.
So I'm not going to get into it much here. It's kind of a given. But one of the most unfortunate things to occur in this industry is the poor wiring that some people will have if they're setting up a grow-op. And I would, I guess it'd be negligent to teach a class on growing without insisting that anyone with lights and fans and everything else get a professional, or as close to a professional as humanly possible, to look at the situation and make sure it's as safe for you as humanly possible. The potential of disaster, fires, is not only one that would personally potentially ruin your life and what you're trying to do, but the more situations that go public with stolen power, bad wiring, there's a lot of media. Well, at times there's funny little waves right now occurring in the press about the Health Canada licenses. In some ways, the media is, really going out of its way to make people aware when they're catching Health Canada licenses that are improperly wired, or they've caught some with stolen power and all sorts of things. The fire chiefs across the country are screaming that they want to come and do inspections in these places because they're unsafe, and they there's I think, was it in the Lower Mainland a little while ago, a firefighter was even injured coming in to a house where the fire had been started with a Health Canada go off. There's a lot of movement within Health Canada to do pre-inspections of the facilities before they license them to make sure that they are, you know, set up properly and stuff. So the more times that people are caught with bad examples, the more difficult it's going to be for those that are doing it properly, and could again potentially ruin your life. So I just can't say enough about like wire it all properly, please. And there's all sorts of easy ways to do it. Like you don't even have to be a electrician. They sell these wonderful little complete kits these days. You can put your clones in the bottom and grow them out on the top. I've seen this really neat one where the light was in the middle and they had this revolving unit with the water and fertilizer at the bottom. So as it turned around, it would kind of just dip the plants into the water and nutrients, and then it would just slowly spin around, and that was pretty cool. Yeah, I just plug these units into the wall, keep it full of water. So growing cannabis is easier than ever. There's more products than, you know, appearing on the market with each month that it's hard to keep up, I think, for people in the growing industry.
I've seen those things online and stuff, and I've checked them out a bit, but apparently like the biggest problem is like the spatial reasoning of how small it is.
Yeah, you have to keep your plants, it's quick for a sea of green. You only veg for 3 to 5 days, and it's down with a mega wheel. Yeah, you have to, can't veg at all.
Yeah.
Like once they root, right to flower, because he can only, his tallest plant I think is 14 inches.
Yeah, doesn't have a lot of
little one bud wonders. Yeah,
yeah,
you're going as a sativa, then you can pull this off and grow them a little bit taller. But yeah, the one I was talking about is totally sea green. Like, yeah, lots of
he's found too, if he separates every second hole, gets more air to the roots and they come out as a fatter, and he's got more room for me to fatter too. Then he doesn't need as many clones because those things hold like some of them hold like 90 or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like you're constantly working too, you know, it's like every day you're cloning, you're making sure that yesterday's clones are alive. Yeah, it can be a lot of work, but
it's easy for someone in a wheelchair though. Like for instance, if someone loads it for me, all you do is just add a liter of water every couple of days, right? And then their food every 10 days. It's really easy for them.
Yep.
Just runs all out of that.
Yeah, for someone, you know, sitting at home, not working, you know, one of those machines you're taking care of.
Yeah.
You know, so and I think I've got one of my helpers who's using at least a couple of these units. You know, he's got the system down. It's lots of work, but it's like farming, urban farming, right?
Urban lion.
Curing is way more critical and important than a lot of people think. The chemicals, as mentioned, are still almost in transition for 27 days. THC doesn't just appear out of nowhere. There's these chemical bonds and things that need to happen along the way.